What was that?
That, Craig, is a band called Nonpoint. They are my favorite band in the whole world and the subject of today's episode. Before the interview, I know that you hadn't heard of them, but they're a multi-million-dollar band that's been around for over 15 years. So they've been kind of gritting it out through the days of the big record labels, through the Napster era, now into the iTunes era. And they've kind of survived and adapted through all those years, basically, in their words, by putting out a good product, selling good shows, making good music.
We're in the business of writing songs and playing shows. You write a good song, you play a good show, you're gonna last. You write shitty music, you play shitty shows, you're not gonna last.
Before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsor, MailChimp. Over 8 million businesses use MailChimp to send newsletters, and we're one of them. If you'd like to start your own, visit MailChimp.com.
This is Rob. I play drums.
Elias, I sing vocals, and we are in Nonpoint.
So I've heard that Nonpoint got started when Rob heard you, Elias, singing Happy Birthday. Is that true?
Yeah.
How did that work?
Well, because I was singing it in Italian, and I was standing on a chair, probably singing it about 108 dB. So it was more impressive than just the run of the mill.
And what was that early relationship like? Did Rob just say, Elias, you want to come play a little bit with us?
No,
or did you...
he said, you're in the band.
Okay.
And that was
Pretty
it.
much, yeah.
He didn't even ask me if he told me I was
we had started, I guess,
he
him
threatened
and...
me with bodily harm.
He started playing, and I said, I never said, I didn't grab him by the shirt and...
No, he stood up and went, you're in the band.
You're in the band, want a job, Yeah. And that's just kind of started. It started a relationship, and here we are, since that day, still playing together.
Did you want to be in a band?
Honestly,
yeah.
I didn't think I was gonna be in a band when I showed up that day. Yeah. It wasn't a goal of mine at the time. I wasn't looking to be in a band. This is the first and only band I've ever been in.
Yeah.
So it was.
I can't say the same.
It was kind of
my 10th band.
Just as a chance.
No way.
Huh?
You were in 10, like you've been
this
in 10 bands?
This is my 10th band. Nobody important before that, but I went through 10 bands before I got to Nonpoint.
Wow.
And what's made you stick with Nonpoint? The success of Nonpoint?
It's just, awesome. I found the singer that I needed.
Yeah.
I went through Elias, this is, to me, with him, we're the official lineup, but before him, I went through 4 singers. Mm-hmm. Because, I had to find the guy. I just had that goal, and, I had that passion burning in me that I wanted to do something. Still today, me and him share that same goal and same passion, no matter what gets thrown at us or whatever, Mm. But it's just, I stuck here because I love the music. I love the direction we were going in.
Yeah.
And I said, there was no reason to leave this situation.
And what was the goal when you met in the restaurant and said you're in the band? What was the goal at that point?
And what? Yeah, we didn't really sit down to have a goal. We just played shows and see what happened. And then all of a sudden, the attention started to get a little, started getting more fans. People were singing our songs based on this cassette. Yeah, that's how far back we had cassettes. Awesome. This cassette we started distributing for free. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, we went to these shows and people are singing these songs. I said, well, okay, maybe something's going on. Maybe people like this music.
But it was always short-term goals, though. Uh-huh. We were always setting short-term goals.
Like just the next
And they were realistic short-term goals. Mm-hmm. And, first was, like he was, it started with him. He needed to find the right lineup. Once we found the right lineup, then there was writing the songs. Yeah. Once we started writing the songs, then it was, let's conquer the scene. Once we conquered the scene, then management found us. Once management found us, then it was looking for a label. Once the label found us, it was putting out a record. And once the record was there, it's trying to sell more records than the last.
Trying to stay signed.
Yeah.
At what point did this become full-time for you guys?
Basically, once we started playing in the scene and we saw...
And this is in Florida?
In Fort Lauderdale.
Right. Fort Lauderdale.
Well, once we got signed, it really happened.
Yeah, once we got signed, but, we just... My goal was always... my goal, and you can ask, my friends that when I lived in Puerto Rico, they knew that this is what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that was been my goal. It didn't matter who was in the band. It was my goal.
Hopefully
which
you
is
were
why
in the
we
band.
changed so many
But
people.
you're asking when this turned into
when it turned full time, and when we got signed and we knew that we're off and running,
Yeah.
then that's when I turned full time.
Flips.
But we knew that to get to full time, we had to take it seriously in the local scene. That people knew we were serious, that we were, a serious band. We weren't just a band to go play locally, hang out with your buzz and get drunk. We wanted to be a show, which is why people came, which is why the word got out, and people started hearing about us outside of Florida. Like, who is this band that is drawing 1,200 people without our label's help? It's just that we worked hard to get to make this full time. It's not like it was. It was serious for me. For all the time, full time. So to get to that goal, but once we got signed, man, it was once we left for that first date.
Boom. It
was gone, and that's what we've been doing ever since.
And when did you guys start playing together, and when did you guys get signed? How long was that period?
Officially, I met Elias in '96.
Yeah.
In '96, and in '97, yeah, and then at the beginning of '97, played our first show. We got signed officially in the year 2000.
So 4 years roughly, you guys spent together playing locally before the first record deal. Then what was that first record deal like?
It was old school. We were on MCA, so it was a big label.
That thing was like that thing.
Yeah, and it was a proper deal that was going for the throat on the band. Okay. They gave us a nice, pretty advance.
Yeah.
But we when all was said and done, we'd owed them $1.4 million because of money spent. Now it's label money spent, so it's all inflated, and they pay for a bunch of stuff that they're not supposed to be paying for, and they write a bunch of stuff in. Sometimes that really isn't exactly what's there. So that's most likely why they're no longer around.
Can you explain that a little bit? They will sign you to a deal. They will promote you guys. They'll send you around to promote your CDs, and then they'll bill you for it at the end.
Yeah. Well, the labels charge administrative fees, and again, they charge you their rate. So if I'm getting a radio staff and they charge $80,000 for their radio staff, I pay for that. But I pay for that with my percentage. So let's say I get 16% of the record, label gets, the other 84%. I have to pay the $250,000 advance out of my 16.
Mm-hmm.
So for every dollar that they generate, I have to give back my 16 cents until my $250,000 is paid.
Right, until you earn out.
Right. And then whilst that's going on throughout the entire cycle, they're buying more ads and doing this and flying here to talk to this person, and that all accumulates on the bill.
And as an artist, do you have any control over what they spend their money?
Not when it's a label like that.
So you can't be like,
that's
tone
the way
it
they
down
do
with the flights. Like, come on. Yeah.
No, that's what they pay. That's what they charge.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Okay.
And that's why, when fans and everyone is like, oh, artists are always complaining about, I see them on television and I hear them on the radio. They got to be making money. It's like, that is not even close to the case at all. Look at TLC.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, look at the TLC story. That will put it all into perspective. Watch that movie. It'll tell you how it really is.
Which movie is that? So our listeners.
TLC, the actual TLC story. If you look at what those poor girls went through, they had 3% split between the three of them. Each of them got 1%. They sold millions of records. At the end of a platinum record, they were all bankrupt.
And does the label take a percentage of just the album sales, or do they get a cut as well of the touring revenue?
Well, for us,
merchandise?
we're in a different position.
Mm-hmm.
New bands coming up, when you sign a new record deal, it has to do with the label.
Yeah.
Independent labels are different. Major labels are different. You can get a distro deal where you can just be. It's all up against you and whether or not you want to do it. But it's really up to the label.
And now we're 15 years later, so you're on a different label now?
We're our own machine now. They want to be in business with us. When I'm a brand new band, I'm looking for a label.
Okay.
Labels are looking for us.
Got you.
Because there's less work.
Yeah.
I'm already a band.
Well, there's a deal called as a 360 deal, which basically the label
the
takes
new deal.
part of the merch and their touring revenue. Because how record sales, diminishing, so they have to make their money back somehow. With a band like us, we have a history. we have a 15-year history. We don't have to give up any of that.
We don't sign 360 deals because they didn't invest the time or the money in the 15-year growth. So handing over my business to someone 360 degrees, the deal says what it says. Yeah, you give me $1 million, but you're probably going to make 12.
Right.
You know, and then that's it. I'm capped.
Right.
But when we first got signed, 360 deals did not exist.
What are the channels that you guys have? You guys have touring, merchandise, album sales?
Well, we got publishing. You got ASCAP checks,
Writing.
and I said we have our individual businesses, and stuff like that.
What are those checks?
Radio.
Oh, radio.
Radio
Okay.
spins. They have to.
Radio spins.
For everyone, for the way ASCAP works, you're at a certain level dependent on how many records you've released, how many of your songs have charted, and then when you start, you get a penny. You hit a number one song, they give you 3 cents. You go and do another number one song, now your songs are worth 10 cents, and then your stock grows and grows and grows. Mm-hmm. It's all based on a formula.
Interesting.
Thankfully,
Yeah,
because that's good.
Yeah.
That's good because ASCAP is a godsend to artists.
Really?
I mean, they really are. They make sure that people get paid.
We all get a quarterly check, and it always comes at the right time too.
And they monitor it all. They monitor radio, they monitor television, they make sure nothing.
And they're also doing performance royalties, like when people submit set lists from shows. Now ASCAP pays for you to play certain songs live.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's also YouTube monetizing that you can monetize and you get paid from YouTube as well.
I'm interested in talking about that. So you guys have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, but that's something that's not
different from ASCAP.
Yeah, and not only is it different from ASCAP, but the percentage is so small.
Yeah. Right.
Monetizing really doesn't flip until you turn into Beyonce or Jay-Z or Rihanna. And
it's all into play.
And you're getting 243 million views. Then you're monetizing.
Okay.
1 million views, you're not monetizing anything.
Nothing.
You're not getting any money.
Yeah.
On 1 million
With an ad.
not
turned
even
on,
close.
doesn't even-
2 million views, you ain't making no money. 10 million views, you might make a couple dollars. It's like that.
And which channel is the worst with that? Because there was an article
All of
about Spotify. You guys had
Spotify,
2
every
million
single
views
one.
and got paid
Rob
$250.
just sent out a flow chart showing exactly what gets, and artists aren't on any of it.
Wow.
Artists don't get.
It's pretty bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
They don't get any of it.
So then in order of magnitude, in terms of kind of what's effective for you guys as a business, is it touring far and away at the top, or where do things
Touring and merch
where does
sales,
things
it's-
else? Merch is,
Touring and merch sales are the
touring,
biggest
merch,
revenue.
and then third, maybe record sales.
Okay.
Wow.
Which is iTunes now.
Yeah, but if you've noticed like how
Sort of.
bands, how everything has changed. Bands do a lot of VIP meet and greets, which people pay for. Yeah. Back when we first started, I never saw drum heads being sold that use drum heads. You see every band sells a drum head, sells strings, sells something.
Oh man.
Because you have to keep getting paid.
Yeah.
The whole business model is different, and everything is specific.
Okay.
Ours works because we know how to work our business. Other bands, we see them come and go. We see bands drowning left and right, and we try to give as much advice as we possibly can. But you have to also understand that we've been through 4 different genre changes and 3 different format changes. So it's all going to keep changing. If you sit around bitching about it, and you're not gonna you have to move with the times, and you have to alter your business financially, infrastructure, everything when it's time to change the model. When the model changes, it's like if you sit around touring on a bus the same way you did when you made 10 grand, and now that you're making 4 grand, that's your fucking fault, man. Don't cry about it now because your band's breaking up because none of you guys got money. That's exactly why. Because you're paying a crew guy 3 grand and you're not even making $1,000. That's your fault.
So do you think the answer is just that you're nimble? Like you know when to change it up? Like
Us,
that
yeah,
you've
we
stayed
make
alive?
hard decisions.
The thing is, we've accepted the changes.
Right.
That's why we accepted it and we roll with it. That's not. We're not like, oh man, I'm so record.
We didn't sit around for that 6 months to a year bitching about the fact that downloading's ruining music. Oh, you know what we did? We were like, hey, it is what it is, and then we just kept writing music and got through it. Again, it's back to your business. We're in the business of writing songs and playing shows. You write a good song, you play a good show, you're gonna last. You write shitty music, you play shitty shows, you're not gonna last. Yeah. You make a good car that gets good gas mileage, it's gonna fucking sell.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, man. You gotta change up.
So it sounds like kind of your revenue, your business, it fluctuates because if a new album's coming out, if you guys are touring, how do you pay yourselves?
Merch money. Merch money. Like I said, whatever, after all overhead expenses, whatever's left.
Do you guys like salary yourselves in any way?
No,
or?
We've never been salaried.
Nope.
No.
We split up what's left at the end.
Split up what's left 5-way, equally.
Yeah.
Touring wise, we split up everything equally, and then recording wise, it depends. We change. It depends. Me and him are basically the owners of Nonpoint.
Right.
So obviously
we own the trademark. Him and I own the trademark. But when it comes to the writing, we all write.
But you guys brought in new members very recently, a few years ago.
And they all make equal.
And you guys are all equal.
Well, 4 years, and we have a new guitar player that we got last year.
Wow. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
Are most bands kind of owners of their business, their brand, the way that you guys are?
Depends. Depends on who it is. A band like Seven Dust, yeah. Bands who have lasted as long as we have, yes. Like even 10 years I've been around. Yeah. Over 10 years, I think now they've been around. But, it depends. Like a lot of the newer bands, I'm not sure how their business is done. I just know that bands like us, like from back in the day, they're still around. Basically, a lot of the decisions now fall on us.
Yeah.
Every single thing. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Other things that we had other people do for us. Like everything has changed. People maybe got lazier or something. So a lot of it falls on us. So yeah, we're pretty much the owners. Like I have people now ask us, what do we want to do instead of what are we doing?
Exactly. What are we doing?
We make
so fucking true.
We
man.
make the decision.
So
me and
true.
Elias basically make the final
plan.
Call. The final call.
And you make the plan almost for the year. You think ahead. We think way ahead.
Like our managers, business manager, agent do not do anything without asking me and him.
Huh. And so do you guys have maybe it's faster moving than this. Do you have like an end of year meeting where you're like, all right, next year, this is what our plan is? Or is it like you're going to have a conversation?
We pretty much plan ahead for everything.
Our Steve Davis, our manager, is really good about that. Thinking about the full year.
Yeah.
Thinking about the big picture. He's really good big picture. We're the ones that make sure none of the details get,
That's
lost.
Crazy.
Like he routes all of our booking agent really doesn't route anything.
I pretty much route most of
what direction do you guys want to go? What clubs do you want to play? And Rob
I'll see a routing and I'll say this no, this yes, this no, go here, go there.
So just to clarify the definition, routing means what exactly?
Like the direction where we're going. If
we're going to
go
do
to
Lauderdale,
Boston,
Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and then do North Carolina, and then Panama City. He would go, no. We'll do North Carolina on the way back over here. Take us from, Jacksonville across to Panama City, so I don't have to go into North Carolina and then drive,
I make sure, basically, when these things are routed, is that we're saving money.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just about saving money and gas, distance, how tired is my driver going to be, what time we need to leave, stuff like that. It's stuff that
if it's a 10-hour drive,
I don't even get paid to do any of it.
Yeah, right.
Because
exactly.
I care so goddamn much, and I care more than the actual guy that gets paid to do it. Yeah. That's how it gets fucking done. If you don't do it my way, it's not going to get fucking done.
Yeah,
that's
and
bottom line. That's
at the end of the day, we'll end up spending 20% more than we would have if he hadn't made the changes.
It's funny
here's the thing: these people that work for us, no matter what happens or what money gets spent, their percentage stays exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But ours doesn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure that we make at least more than the original plan.
So when you guys tour, you do a tour for a set amount of time. What are kind of the big expenses on a tour?
Well, the biggest expense on a tour, if you're on a bus, is the bus. That's the first big expense.
And so you own it and rent it? What's that?
We lease it. Lease it. I mean, some bands own. Some bands, most bands lease. A lot of bands. The only people that own buses are country artists because they make a buttload of money and they can do weekend warrior stuff. But bus and gas are the biggest expense, and the
then
driver,
commissions,
and the driver,
and then commission,
and
then us.
Because business manager gets a commission, agent gets a commission, manager gets a commission.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, another thing, so you know that we check when there's touring is how much money we get paid at each show.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because if it's, let's say, $1,750, I'll say squeeze out another $1,000, find it somehow, just for FYI. I make sure there's more money.
I need you. I don't have a band, but I'm like, I need one of you.
He knows me. I will work you till it's convenient for me. It's because honestly, I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
He has a daughter. My guitar player has a daughter. It's about me and my kids.
Yeah.
Before it's about any of these motherfuckers.
And it's all the same stuff. Like kids got to go to college. You got to save money
I have to
for that.
pay
You
for my
gotta
daughter's
retire. You can't
preschool.
do
That's
this
fucking
forever.
$1,500, man.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna let somebody screw me out of money.
Yeah.
So
I need my daughter needs to learn because I want her to take care of me in the future.
yes. What are some other just like literally day-to-day cost-saving methods on the road? I'm like, how do you feel good if you're just like eating out of like gas stations and stuff? Do you never?
We don't. No, we don't. We're not at that. I mean, I think we would pack it up if we were eating out of gas stations and stuff.
Okay.
It's not that. The reason that this band is still a band is because, we're $1 million a year business, and it's what it does. It's survive the 5. It can feed 5 grown families and take care of commissions, and you don't base your business on other people's opinions.
Yeah.
Even though our business is a business that completely is solely based on opinion, whether or not someone likes me or not is definitely what feeds me. But it's if I'm resting my idea of success on someone else's idea of what success is, then I should have quit 10 years ago.
You'll never be satisfied.
Right, but there's a million other people out there that wish that they were in my position. So you have to base your life on the quality of life that you've decided to live and the kind of business that you've decided to build. What I base my daily happiness and successes are not what anyone else is going to base theirs, and nor should any small business owner, because you're living your career, so you can't look at it like I'm working more than 40 hours this week and I'm not getting the same amount of money that guy is working 40 hours. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're your own boss.
Yeah.
So this is interesting, right? Like, has that been a moving target, like how you define happiness? Have you kind of evolved into it as you've become like, I mean, when you started, this wasn't your full-time thing.
It's not a moving target, but it's a constant explanation to people.
Yeah.
Of, wow, how can you be on the road away from your family this long? It's because, I just spent 4 months at home. You guys don't
You're ready
see
for
that.
it. Yeah.
I'm cool. So is my wife. And then when I'm out on the road, I'm making money. This is how it's the gig.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you have to base your happiness on the quality of life that you've decided to live.
Absolutely. And so just a question or two about your fans. How do you stay engaged with them? What works for you guys?
Right now, Facebook and Instagram are really the only, and Twitter are the only real ways to do it. Like I said, Rob is awesome online.
I respond pretty much every question unless it's something outrageous that I don't want to talk about. But I respond to pretty much 90% of the questions. I did a Q&A the other day where it was like almost 600 questions. I responded to every single one. So I stay engaged. We all go out to the merch table every night. We talk to our fans. I'm the most engaged out of the band. Elias engages, but it's a lot less than I do. Yeah. But it's just.
I post a lot of pictures, Instagram stuff.
I take care of all the social media, but everybody's got access. But I pretty much post all the shows. I promote all the shows. Nobody promotes anything except for me. Like no label, manager, nobody. I do it because I don't trust nobody to do it. I post a show every friggin' day until your newsfeed blows up. It's just to the point where people get mad. But
you're
but then if I don't post it, when we leave that town, you're asking me the next day. Like we played Houston like about a year ago. Mm-hmm. Very next day, when you play in Houston, we were just there last night. Where what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like social media is not really as effective as people think. Back it was weird
unless you constantly do it.
And Facebook just switched it up last year, right? So you have to pay to promote your page.
Correct.
That's not right.
Oh, all right.
No.
So what do you do? What's the secret?
I'm not telling you.
All right.
I have not paid for one post.
If you have 500 people on your Facebook and you have 500 people adding to your newsfeed and he puts one post up at 12 12:03. There's something at 12:04. There's something at 12:10. There's something at 12:12. There's something
gets
at 12.
lost.
And it goes all the way to the bottom of your newsfeed. So if he doesn't post it again, that's the thing. You got to be relentless.
But Facebook did add a feature that if you go into the part where it says follow, you hit that thing. There's a drop down menu and it'll say see post first. Click on that, and anytime that band posts something, that's the first thing they see in the newsfeed. And that's something new they added 2 weeks
So
ago.
you tell your
I
fans
didn't
to do
even know
that.
And I promote and I put that up.
Yeah.
And that way, like I promote a lot. There's a lot of bands that I see the attendances just go down, and they think that posting just to show that people just automatically are going to come to their page every single day.
Facebook knows.
That's not the case.
Man, it's
just same
evil.
with promoters.
Facebook is the devil.
That's just the case of promoters. I think of just putting the name on the
I'm telling
marquee.
you, man.
So you mean to tell me our fans are going to drive every day of the year to find out if our name's on the marquee?
I'm going to say it, man. Fuck a Facebook.
It's been said.
Facebook is a necessary evil.
Yeah. But
It's
evil.
it's done good for the band.
So evil.
But let's say they're like when we have changes in the members, all of a sudden it goes to the friggin' side. People taking side. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. So let's transition into kind of the closing and get you guys to what you need to do. Nonpoint is at this point, very successful band. Can you guys kind of distill or attribute your success to any certain ideals or principles that you've held?
It's really about doing the work. You got to do the work in every facet of this industry. You got to be smart about your songs and your music. You got to be smart about your show. You got to be smart about your merch, and you got to be smart about the people that you decide to do business with. So it's really about having the entire package. Somebody said it the other day, man. You can't play 5-man basketball with 4 men.
Any closing advice to bands that are starting out or even just small businesses?
Find someone that you trust to work with, and if you're serious about it, start talking to managers and get serious about it. You can't do it half-ass.
It starts with what you want. If you're really into it, you got to find everybody else is really into it.
And you got to jump in with both feet. You can't do this halfway.
Thanks as always for listening to this episode of Salt of the Earth. You've just heard from the band Nonpoint. If you like our show and you want to hear more, then subscribe to us on iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcasts, or check out our website at saltpodcast.com, where you can find photos, videos of the places we've gone and the folks that we've talked to. Next week, we talk to Luke Holden and Ben Conniff, founders of Luke's Lobster. Luke and Ben met on Craigslist and have built a small restaurant dynasty from some simple, humble beginnings.
We didn't put an HVAC in. We were using a window unit that was pre-existing when we moved in, which was terrible.
Literally, the windows would just run with condensation.
Tune in next Thursday to hear that interview.
Before you go, we want to tell you about one last thing, our newsletter. Each week, we pull together photos from our interviews and all kinds of other stuff, then just send it right out to you guys. It's the easiest way to stay up to speed on the show, and you can subscribe at saltpodcast.com. And by the way, we use MailChimp to send that newsletter. So if you're thinking about starting your own, John and I can testify it's super easy. So join us and over 8 million other businesses at MailChimp.com.